Big day coming up today. We finally get to do some seeding on this. We've run into some rain. Things have been a little held up here. We only got half our soil. I'll be showing you all of that stuff. But have a fella coming up, neighbor coming up nice enough to spread it for me. I thought I'd just take a second before all the noise begins and just show you the whole lineup here of stuff you're going to use to do a lawn repair. Almost always you'll use all these things, these tools, in almost even the smallest lawn repair up to the largest. These are the tools you'll be using. I'll try to focus and just tell you. I'll be showing you as we go how they're used and all any technique you need to know. But first, just a lineup of the tools. Let's go over them. Okay, the first thing you see here is the weed eater. What you want to do, I've already done it. It's a little early here, but right around the edges there, you want to have a nice tight buffer. I mowed yesterday and that got pretty tight. There isn't a lot of growth around here. I ran the glyphosate sort of religiously, so this particular, because I've been right on top of it, we didn't need to do a whole lot around the edges, but you always want that edge down nice and tight. The reason is you're not going to stop your soil right there at the edge of the dirt. Your soil is going to come on out over. You're going to have what I call a little spill apron there that you fill right in with soil. And what that does, this grass will grow through it, but also the new seed will come through, and you'll avoid. If you don't do it that way, you'll wind up with a seam around everything. You don't want that. So that's why we take the weed eater, knock that right down to zero, just as close as you can. I have to be a little careful here because of the rocks and all that stuff, so didn't get it quite as close as I usually would, but plenty close enough. And when we spread the soil out, you'll see, we'll come out, we'll actually use that, we'll incorporate that as part of the loss. Here we have starter fertilizer. It's a 15-15-15. Ideally, you could find a different type of starter. Scott's, I think, makes one with just look for that large middle number. That middle number is potassium. That's the imperative ingredient for the starter fertilizer. You want that middle number quite high. In this case, this is a large bag of grass seed. It's a generic mix. I'm not getting too cute with this. This is just a generic triple perennial mix. Fine for this. I'm in a sunny area. I live in the middle of nowhere. I don't have to get too cute on the seed, so I didn't. You see two rakes here. The smaller one's actually a 3-foot rake. That's not small by any means. If you only had one rake, that'd be fine. That 3-foot rake will do everything you need to do. If you're a landscaper, hey, maybe you've got a 4-footer. I don't know. If you have a 4-foot rake, more power to you. I don't ever get rid of it because especially on a project this size, I use it. But all you would need is the 3-footer to do everything we're going to do. The 3-footer will be good for rough grading. When Jim comes here and drops the soil to me, I'll just take that rake and I'll be smoothing it out in a very rough sense, just rough grading. Nothing elaborate yet, but just getting it kind of fit into where we're going to need it. Then I'll take the roller over here, the roller that's full of water, that's quite heavy. We'll roll that, then roll the soil down. At that point, you come back with that 4-footer, and that's called a leveling rake. You get no power out of it, but boy, oh boy, does that ever level things out nicely for you. And just a great rake to set up your germination bed. But we'll do the rough work with the 3-footer and then the finish work with that 4-footer. Again, if you only had one rake, you wouldn't want the 4-footer because you can't get enough power to do rough grading with it. You would get the 3-footer and you would do everything with it. Now, the 4-footer's bells and whistles, but I'm a landscaper, so I happen to have one. Straw, when we're all done, let me go through the process here. Straw, then you'll always need a round point shovel somewhere and if you don't, you've got more power to you, but always have one available. That cleanup rake at the end, we would use if I was at a customer's property, but because this is out here and I know I'm not going to complain, I may not do a whole lot of cleanup around the edges. I might, depending on how much gas I have left. And without fail, a hose. You always want your hose ready. We're going to be doing the watering, and that hose will stay out here now for the next several weeks as we water this in once we get it done. And now I just need to go get some breakfast, Jim to show up, and we're going to get busy today. All right, hard at work here. Jim's bringing the soil out, and when you're doing a job like this, you want your excavator to stay on the unworked part. Bring the soil out here where I'm working it down with the rake. He's getting a little ahead of me. Good excavator, drop it. He'll do the back dragging with a blade. And then I'll sit here and get the rough grade like I have here. Drops the soil, back drags it, finished guy gets it grade. That's fine for where we are right now. That's a good enough grade. When we roll this and take the big rake over it, this will be very nice. So all we're striving for here is pretty fast work. And you get out of breath, try to keep up with the machine, but I'm doing her. And I'm going to show you how to roll. We're going to roll the lawn, the new seeding, got it rough graded. Then I'm going to take the large rake and do the final grade. That's just to rough it up for germination. We'll put the seed, the starters, fertilizer, and straw on in this segment. Now we're dealing with the wind here, so probably a good idea to show you what you'll get up against anyway. It's not unusual. Where we live, when the wind comes out of the west, it blows in a complete circle. So I'm going to be a little frustrated. I promise I'll watch my language. We'll get this done. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take a few passes with a roller, just so you see. I mean, it's not rocket science or anything, but let's just take a couple strolls across here with the roller so you see what that process is like. It's very important. So here we go. You got me? Ready? Easy stuff. One more pass, okay? How about that? The next thing we're going to do is, this is the 4-foot leveling rake. This is one we talked about earlier that you may not have. You don't need it. You can use the 3-footer easily. This, all you're going to try to do here, see, we have it rolled, and I'm going to work in smaller sections so when we straw it, we don't get screwed by that wind. We're going to work in smaller sections right on down, work our way out. The only thing I have to do here is get a germination bed. The grading's essentially done with the rolling and all that. I'll fill in a few low spots and all that, but this leveler will fill in all the lows and highs and all that almost by its own as I work with it. And remember, we talked too about not being linear. Don't work straight back and forth. All you'll end up doing is putting hills and valleys in there. We'll work this way, we'll swirl, we'll work in circles. We'll do everything we can to work different directions, and that's how you fill the lows in. You don't try to work linearly. That's always a loser. All we're going to try and do here is I just need a little germination bed. See, you work in circles, how you fill all that in. Okay, I'm going to keep doing that now. I'm going to leave myself a little tie out here so I know where I left off. All that's pretty much common sense. Okay, give me a few minutes and I'll get this graded, and then we'll put on some seed and materials. We're ready now to run the materials. Do you want to just get a quick look at there? That's fine. We're gonna put the materials on, straw, and as you water that all, everything fills in to be a nice result. Now here's the starter fertilizer. Everything's gonna be broadcast. If you can't broadcast, you're gonna have to figure out a way to do it with a spreader. Usually you can figure out how to broadcast, and that's a much more effective way. You can have complete control then of how much seed goes on. Now, I seed at about, well, I seed at 10 pounds per 1,000 square feet. All the literature will tell you how heavy that is. Don't go by that. Go by what I'm telling you. You get one chance at this, and even though that seems like a heavy amount of seed, that's not. That's how you want to do it. You figure 10 pounds per 1,000. We have 3,500 square feet we're dealing with here, so 35 pounds, about a 50-pound bag. And make sure that you don't skimp on the seed when you have, this is your only shot you get at doing it right. Don't skimp on the seed. 10 pounds per 1,000, I guarantee you'll be happy with that. First, the starter fertilizer. That's nice heavy stuff. And you can actually get this out there pretty good, wind or not. And the wind's actually died for a minute. That won't last as soon as we grab our straw. Now, the other day we couldn't see this very well, but I'll bet we can today. See how close you can get. You want me to take that for a minute? Let me see it for just a second. Here's, I don't know if you can see it. See that's about the consistency. You know, there's a huge gray area. You can put on a little heavier than that, a little lighter than that, you'll be fine. But whatever you do, make sure you use the starter fertilizer. And don't forget that middle number's the imperative number. You want that in a nice high number, at least a 15. And that's what we have, okay? Same thing with the broadcasting. And in this, a little more important that you play the wind right. But let me just get started. At first, it's just a nice general broadcast. And if you do have, sometimes the wind can help you. It really is right now. Yeah. Oops. And again, big gray area. So in this particular case, seed it more heavily. The only thing you want to avoid is throwing down. Some guys do it, they chunk it like this. You don't want, you don't want that. That won't grow. We'll feed the birds with that. That won't grow. And to tell you about as long as we're talking about the birds, they're not going to eat your seed. I know you. I go through this all the time about birds eating the seed. If we're going to straw it anyway, that'll put you at ease. In case you do wonder about the birds eating the seed that they never do eat. And plus, I've got plenty on there for me and the birds, so that's all for the birds. Okay, we've hit it with a starter fertilizer. Now I've hit it with seed. Now what I want to do is run my straw out to where I've seeded. Then I'll run my wheelbarrow over the straw, and we'll just go right on down to the end of this. And then I'll roll the other section, and we'll do the same repetition all the way down until we have a nice lawn. Then I'll water it, and we're off and running. This was all put in almost a week ago, so we're already set there. Now we're going to straw. We have a little wind problem. The first thing you do, you're going to cut these twines, and right now is when you want to make sure to get these tines out of the, I call them twines, out of the way. These will wreak havoc on a lawnmower if you leave them in. If you leave them down there and forget them, the first time somebody mows it, up these come in the blades. Believe it or not, shut them mower right down. Now we're going to try to straw with this kind of wind. If worse comes to worse, we'll get a little straw down and I'll water it right away. Water will hold it, but I think I can make it down through here and have enough of the straw left to make sense of it. Let's get started and see. Strawing is, I don't even have to put it on video for you. You just get it covered. You don't have to, another huge gray area. You can overdo it if you want to and the grass will still grow, but I've always found it better to go a little bit lighter with the straw. You're just trying to get a covering on there to hold moisture, things like that. You don't really want to go too heavy with it. So I'll just kind of get started, see if we can make sense of this with the wind. We'll probably be okay. I've worked in worse. Take my Once I get a section strawed, I'm going to take my materials, wheel up to the next section, seed starter, all the way up to the end. Once the straw is down, I'll quickly come back and get it watered to hold it down. Ordinarily we do straw the whole thing, do the whole thing at once, but I don't want to do that today because this wind is gonna, it comes up pretty hard at times, and if you don't get your straw watered down, you might have to redo a lot of work if it blows it off, but we're not gonna let that happen. Okay, let me get going. Once you get it watered good once, it'll hold up to a pretty good wind. Once you get it watered twice, it's good that you're good then. See, this hasn't blown at all. You need to get that first water on it right away so the straw will hold. And tonight I'll come out, water it again, then I'm good. The straw won't go anywhere then, you're all set. I don't know how to tell you to water, just don't turn it to mud, and don't underwater, just kind of use your common sense. Watering's pretty easy, the straw kind of takes care of you. Well, we got it all done. Gonna go over a few things with you, but that wind, it's not my luck usually, but we got this done just in time. Right now, the way this wind is blowing, that strawing would have been very, very difficult. Let's take a look at it, and I'm gonna go over a few of the numbers with you so you know how it goes. Okay, this was 3,500 square feet of new area. We used 12 yards of screened topsoil. Whenever you're doing this kind of work, get the screened topsoil. You don't want to work with a lot of clumps. The soil here wasn't ideal, but with as long as I had Jim here with the dozer, that took care of a lot of the clumps, so the finish work wasn't too tough. Sorry. 10 pounds per thousand, 35 pounds of seed, almost exact to that. I'm almost certain we used almost exactly that. We used not quite I got 50 pounds of the 15 starter, and I have a quarter of that bag left, but that's what you'd buy a 50-pound bag, and that's strawed right. So, well, maybe if stick to the 400 square feet per bale, and you might end up with having to go get another bale, but I ended up with 10. I got 10 bales for the job. I have one left over. We'll use that up easy enough somewhere else. I have enough to do for sure. But there's what it looks like. The next time we see each other, I'm going to be having the grass germinate. We'll be talking about mowing and all that stuff. We're a long ways away from that, but we've got the hard part done. I'm going to water it every single day, like I said, right? And don't forget, you see how I got this straw watered today? Now, I can't show you that wind. Maybe you can see the flag. Yeah, take my word for it. The wind is really blowing, and that straw is not moving because I got it watered down. And I watered it in sections. Had I waited and tried to do all that at once, by the time I was done down there, that wind was really blowing. That was tough down there to keep that straw down. So I would have been in bad shape had I not known to work it in sections. Always be thinking when you're doing these kinds of jobs. There's always an efficient way to do it that will save you in the long run. Always be thinking. That's the basic of a lawn repair. That's how it looks. Next thing we needed to do is grow. And again, I say I'll water it every single night. No matter how tired I am, no matter what, I'm going to water this every single night. Even if I go fishing, no matter what, this is going to get watered every single night because that's the way you do it. You don't play the chance of rain. You don't do any of that stuff. If it rains, fine, day off. But if it doesn't rain, you be watering. Don't be looking at that weather forecast thinking that's going to water for you, because that's a loser. This is a lot of work, and it's a shame if you water this, I guarantee you this is going to come in beautiful because I'm going to water it every night. But if you don't water it, all that work could be for naught. So there you have it, a lawn repair 101. Pretty big job to start you out with, but you get the idea. Let's see how we're doing. This is after 3 weeks on the far part of the project. Remember, we put this one in a little earlier, then it was the next weekend when we put this part in. You can see a difference. This is just starting out. This will catch up. At least I'm quite sure. And If it doesn't, it will green up fast enough. It'll be like this soon. I mean, we'll probably be mowing it within a week to 10 days. It's going to grow fast now. The watering has been every single night. We've had some friendly rain. When we finally do get ready to mow it, I'll go over some things with you on how to do that first mowing. And before you know it, this is going to be part of the grass, and we're back in business. What's left? There'll be straw flying all over the place. It's gonna be a pretty messy process, but we knew that. Everything's gone right. So I'm gonna fire up the mower here, make a little noise, and Karen will just video it, and I'll do what I do on the editing and see what we can. But look at how nice the lawn came in. I'm sorry it's such a long video, but there's a lot to this stuff. It's, you know, there's steps along the way, and if you fall short anywhere along the way, you compromise your work. So this has gone exactly like the pros would do it. You can see there's nothing, not a single thing that was done here that you yourself can't do. Not a single thing. Usually your projects will be smaller than this, but no matter the size, you know, you get the right equipment, but the basics are the same. This is what you're striving for. A month from now, when the straw is gone and all that, this will meld right in. In fact, this will be the nicest part of the lawn. Like I say, by next year I'll probably be mad at myself trying to get a mower through this, but it'll be fine. And eventually it will it'll regress right down to like the rest of the lawn is. We put a lot of new grass in around here, and it always comes back to being, it'll be nice. You can see how nice the lawn mows up. It doesn't all have to be grass. We live in the middle of nowhere, so. But there you go. That's a new seeding. That's a lawn repair. That's how you do it. Any other questions, refer to the book, The Landscape Tamed, because that's what we do. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I really appreciate it. This has been just a fun project from start to finish. Very rewarding. Over and out. Took a picture.
No, it's going.
Is it? Okay.
I think so.
Is it?
Yeah, it says you're at 09, 10, 11.
Okay.
Like it's filming.
Okay, the next thing we're going to do is, this is the 4-foot leveling rate. Right now is when you want to make sure to get these tines out of the, I call them twines, out of the way.
Did it come on?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're recording.
Okay, we're ready to go. I got a little in the gloves. I'm taking them off now. And whenever you're using an aluminum rake, put something over your hands so you don't get that oxidation. Is that what it's called? Black stuff. The black stuff.
When I went in the house the first time, I had one of those bastards bit me, and I was bleeding all over the place.
Pretty aggressive.
When I went in the house first time, I had one of those bastards bit me, and I was bleeding all over the place.